welcome back. I'm here with Bobby Hobert from Purpose in the Youth podcast. A little bit of a backstory.
Yep.
I met Bobby in an uberPool.
Shout out to Uber one time. Number one networking or way to network in this world.
The one good PR that Uber has going right now.
If a Boston rep is watching this, they need to put me as the face of
Yeah,
Uber Boston.
that's true. But we started talking and kind of figured out that we're doing similar things. Bobby has a podcast, which we'll talk more about.
Yep.
And I'm obviously doing the video, so it made sense to collaborate. Tell everyone a little bit about what Purpose in the Youth is.
Yeah, so thank you for actually having me on this. I really appreciate that. Purpose in the Youth is a podcast focused on unfolding the stories of people who have found what their passion is. I graduated college back in May. I didn't really know what I wanted to do next. And something was just telling me, follow what your passion is. I didn't want to just take a career because everybody gets a job right when they got out of college. And I just kept telling myself, find your passion. And it was weird timing. It was about March of my senior year when I thought I want to start a podcast. And I sat on the idea, thought about doing a men's health podcast, all these different random ideas. This doesn't work. Fast forward, it was graduation time. Everybody's talking about what they're doing next. They're like, oh, have you applied to jobs? No. I was I'm not applying to anything I don't care about. And it was so weird. About a week before my finals started, I got a call from one of my best friends. His name's Dylan Reese. He's a musician. And I had grown up working with this guy all of my life, helping him grow as an artist. And he called me. He's like, hey, I just got booked for a tour. Can you tour manage it for me? Because the previous tour he had been on, I was in college.
Who does that happen to?
Yeah. I don't know. So a week before my finals, I'm like, yes, let's go on the road. I'm down. Mind you, this is only 8 days. This is an 8-day tour. This is not you're going for 2 months.
4 months.
So I just this is my job. I'm sold. I'm good.
Hired for 8 days.
So that whole oh my God, we're doing this. We're going on the road. This is something we dreamed of. I was at the same time understanding this was something I had always been passionate about. And I was there's something to be said about following your passion, being patient. And that's when the whole podcast idea came about. We sat down, thought of the brand, Purpose in the Youth, about, really finding people like ourselves. We're, in the world we live in today, this is the youth. So yeah, Purpose in the Youth rolled out, and then August 31st, we just hit the ground running and haven't stopped since.
And I love, something I really do admire about Purpose in the Youth is I can relate, Bobby and I are the same age. We both graduated this past May.
Yep.
And I'm sure we both have so many friends who talk about how they don't know what they want to do and they don't know what they're passionate about and then go into whatever job that they're really not happy doing. It's really the minority that think about I don't know what my passion is. Maybe I'll just start a podcast about finding your passion.
So I've sat down with 30.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will be my 30th episode coming out. But I've done about 33, 34. And every episode I've just taken so many different morals and life lessons. And one big takeaway is just do it. Every guest I've had on this podcast is doing what they love. It's a lot of struggle. It's a lot of trying things for the first time, but you're only gonna get to where you're trying to go by taking that first step.
That's why I love, and he could probably relate, I think his guests are probably similar to people I have on the blog, but what I've always loved about startups is it's the doers, the dreamers and the doers of the world. They are gutsy enough to go all in on an idea that they had. There's something to be said with surrounding yourself with those people, and that's why I realize everybody doesn't have those people in their life, and that's exactly why I created this blog, because you can find them online. So that's not really an excuse either.
Everybody watching this, the best influencer. If you need motivation, if you are so nervous, you don't want to listen to my podcast, that's fine. There's a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, and I live by Gary V. And I don't even personally know him, but watching his content, I know him. I gained so much information, and people can get so much information from just watching. You don't have to have 10 friends around you physically. Yes, I would love to have that, and so would everybody else, but
that's just
the internet, so much content and good content that it's just about finding the right lanes and then utilizing it.
Have you been surprised by anything that people have
Yes.
said?
To me, what's been the biggest surprise is going into a podcast, researching and thinking I know everything that's important about this person, and then they hit me with like a right hook of something very serious that's happened in their life. And that's when you take a step back and you're like, wow, like, there's a lot of things that happen in people's life that you don't know about and that aren't out there in the world. And that's one thing that I've learned is don't judge a book by its cover. But I would say every episode has had something different to walk away from.
You started because you couldn't find your passion.
Yeah.
So would you say that you think this is your passion?
100% the podcast has become my passion of helping others. And I'll never forget it. My mother told me a couple of years ago when I was growing up, maybe back in elementary school, my first grade elementary teacher told my mother that one day I was going to become a teacher. I'm not saying the podcast is teaching. I don't necessarily believe I'm directly teaching people.
That's where you
but I do believe that is in a realm, and it's just weird how.
I'm not saying I'm a professor, but.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind being a professor one day. Like, I love helping people learn.
Yeah.
And I think that there's so much more to be learned through stories and
Agreed.
like experiences.
Agreed. Totally agree on that. If you guys want to learn more about Purpose in the Youth or listen to Purpose in the Youth, you can go to Purpose in the Youth on SoundCloud and on iTunes.
Yeah.